We have some breaking NFC West news, and it's not necessarily directly correlated to the San Francisco 49ers, but it's about our rival, the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll is out as head coach for the Seattle Seahawks. Wow. Wow, that's all I got. Wow. I was not expecting this. I don't think anyone was really expecting this. Um, we do know that Seattle has had a rough season, and fans have been upset with how they've been kind of going about their business. I've actually had the opportunity to do some streams with some Seattle creators, and they were just kind of up in arms. I remember the game against the Seattle Seahawks on Thanksgiving. I did a stream on Bleacher Report with one of the Seahawks creators, and he was just talking about how this might be it for Pete Carroll. And I was like, I guess, yeah, maybe it's time for just a change of scenery. I mean, obviously Pete Carroll has been with Seattle for a long time, and it's kind of shocking. Like, so on one hand, I think if you're really paying attention, you could potentially see this coming, but still it is kind of shocking because he does have the Seattle Seahawks in contention for a lot of the time, most of these years that he's been the head coach. Obviously, there's been a lot of shuffling on the roster, the trade of Russell Wilson, getting Geno Smith in there. Absolutely crazy, though, that today, out of all days, we find out that Pete Carroll is out as Seattle Seahawks head coach. However, that doesn't mean he's done with Seattle. It does sound like he may stay with them as a advisor in some capacity, but wow, bombshell report from Adam Schefter that has a huge impact on a division rival and the landscape of the NFC West. Pete Carroll had kind of brought stability to Seattle. He brought them Super Bowls, and he brought them back to relevance. And obviously, as 49er fans, we know during the Harbaugh era, Pete Carroll made our lives miserable. So this is just kind of crazy. It's crazy that after looking back at everything he's done, where he's at now, Pete Carroll no longer be coaching the Seattle Seahawks. And I would have to assume that this may be it for him as a coach in this league, especially if he's staying on as an advisor. So it was interesting because he was asked not too long ago, maybe within the last week, if he plans on coaching next year. And he said, yes, I plan on being the coach of the Seattle Seahawks for the upcoming season. Well, that's not going to be the case. So who comes in? This is going to be a wild coaching hire cycle, especially if Jim Harbaugh enters the mix. It's going to be insane. And I wasn't expecting that in the NFC West. I thought it was going to be the current coaches, McVay, Steichen, and of course, Pete Carroll, but no more. No more Pete Carroll in the NFC West. So, wow. Wow. Brock Purdy ends his career going undefeated against Pete Carroll. Do we take credit for this? Do we take credit for ending the Pete Carroll dynasty? I don't know. But again, just a wild situation. Details are still coming out about this. Again, this just dropped from Adam Schefter. So you still have a ton of the NFL world reacting to this. But one name that is already popping up as a potential replacement for Pete Carroll is Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, who was the DC for Seattle Seahawks under Pete Carroll during those early years in the 49ers rejuvenation of the Seattle rivalry. So, hey, we know Dan Quinn. We've faced him many times with the Cowboys, so that would be a very interesting, and it makes sense because there's obviously a natural relationship there. He's coached for them before, and we could see that come back. But my goodness, you mean we aren't going to see 14 individual shots of Pete Carroll walking up and down the sideline, chewing gum or throwing his gum into the stands? Crazy, man. Absolutely crazy to think about. Definitely did not have this on my 2024 bingo card in the NFL world. This is crazy. So I would assume that this signals, I mean, not assumes, it is. This signals massive changes coming for this organization. So what does that mean for Geno Smith? What does that mean? That's crazy, man. So I would have to assume that Seattle is hitting the reset button. So who knows what Seattle's going to look like next year? Who knows what their quarterback's going to look like next year? Do they make trades? Do they make moves? What are they going to do? But wow, I did not see this happening. I want to know what you guys are feeling about this. What's your reaction to Pete Carroll being out? And again, if you're a 49er fan, this guy has been at the hands of some of the some of the harder losses, especially during the Harbaugh years. You think of the NFC Championship game. I don't even want to think about it. But what do you guys think about this? This is insane. Again, it does sound like he is going to stick around as an advisor. So whatever that means, but no more Pete Carroll in the Northwest. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this. But this also means that the Seahawks job is open, Titans job, Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Falcons, Commanders. That's a good amount of teams looking for new head coaches. So does Steve Wilks get factored into this at all? We heard from Kyle Shanahan yesterday that teams have been calling on Steve Wilks, and there has been interest. And we do know that Steve Wilks has already been requested by the Chargers to interview for his head coaching job, for that head coaching position. So is there a Steve Wilks kind of domino that falls into this mix with another team throwing its hat into the head coaching ring? So it's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Does this somehow have any back end impact on the 49ers by creating another coaching opportunity? And who knows, that might bump Wilks up into serious consideration to become a head coach for one of these teams. So, wow. Crazy news. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about this? Do you think this enhances the chances that Steve Wilks could be hired elsewhere? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.